Welcome, everybody. This is the 5x5, and today I am joined with Jason Canam. He is the level/game designer over at DrinkBox Studios, working currently on Guacamelee. Or would you have anything else to say, Jason?
Lots of stuff going on right there. You know, Guacamelee has been a pretty good success for us. It's been a great launch on Steam in recent weeks. And we're starting to get to that point where we're moving on to new and exciting things. Nothing to say right now specifically, but
Right.
hopefully at some point in the future we'll be able to make some public announcements about some really cool stuff coming up.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, what are you most passionate about right now?
Right now, just coming off of Guacamelee and specifically the DLC for that game got me thinking a lot about teaching players through game design. It's something I've been exploring lately, some concepts behind that, and kind of exploring really effective ways to teach players about your game through the level design, through the game design, how you're presenting them to the player. And I think that there's a lot of room for improvement in that area of game design. There's a lot of games that could benefit by improved kind of teaching mechanics, and I'm just trying to, for my own personal benefit, trying to find more effective ways that I can bring that to future Drinkbox games.
Awesome. Sounds interesting. So I just noticed I totally forgot to start the timer on you. You're supposed to have 60 seconds per question, but
Oh, okay.
no, that was probably less. I just completely forgot to start the timer. My fault, everybody. All right, so next question is, what is your favorite game of all time? Go.
Easy answer. My favorite game of all time is Metroid Prime, released in the GameCube by Retro Studios back in 2002. For me, it was, for a long time, for many, many years, 8 years to be exact, Super Metroid was my favorite game. And Metroid games is probably very easily my favorite game series. But Metroid Prime was the first and truest example I had experienced of the complete realization of something. Those guys, the guys at Retro, had a lot to live up to with that game. When it was first announced that Metroid was becoming essentially a first-person shooter, there was a lot of skepticism behind that. I mean, I myself was really worried about that. But the way it came together, for me, it's the single most inspirational project that I've witnessed. And the result of that is easily, I think, one of the best games of all time and my favorite for sure.
Wow, you got perfect timing. You ended right at 56 seconds.
Awesome.
But yeah, you were talking about that in the last podcast we had you on, how much it's your favorite and the speed runs and all that stuff. It's good
Oh,
stuff.
exactly. Like just behind Metroidvania games, the whole culture of speedrunning is another thing in itself. Absolutely.
Right. All right, so this question might run into that what you were just talking about. So, what is the most important gaming innovation of all time as of right now?
For myself, so the most important, personally, well, I think back to what got me into gaming in the first place, and that comes back to user-generated content. Even in the early 1980s, computer like Commodore 64 games, which I started gaming on, many of them would include a level editor that would let you build levels for the game yourself, or Pinball Construction Set was an old Commodore game that let you build your own pinball table just from like set pieces where you could put in bumpers and put in rails. But just the idea, and I'm surprised that it came so early in the lifespan of video games, that someone thought of the idea like, hey, with our game, let's package in something that lets users make their own levels. And when I started doing that when I was very young, I instantly fell in love with the idea, and I was like, wow, I love building levels for a game. I love making my own castles for this wizard to jump through. So I think, and it's probably responsible for many people getting involved in the industry, and it's evolved into the current culture of mods, which is something that's absolutely important to games and strengthens the lifespan of many games today.
Wow. Yeah. So to that point, like if you look at the MOBAs right now, that started as a user content created. So all of those games and how popular that whole realm is, it's all user generated from the beginning.
That's a really, really good point. And exactly, exactly, a user-generated mod. I mean, it started as a mod for Warcraft 3,
Yep.
I believe. And look at that, it's turned out into arguably one of the most popular genres of game in the planet right now.
Yeah.
So users, letting users have their say in the creation of games, it's the most beneficial thing for games, hands down.
All right. So Next, what will be the most important gaming innovation or trend 10 years from now?
I can say, looking forward to the next generation of consoles, for me personally, what I think is absolutely most exciting about the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, specifically the PlayStation 4, because they've made it such a big feature, is that share button. And streamlining players being able to share their content. Twitch streams are super popular. They're really effective. They're letting people, share their game experiences. And if the console makers want to work with software developers to make that part of their games and make it easier than ever before for players to share their experiences among one another, I can only imagine what that's going to turn into. Are we going to see movies that are made from this? I mean, is it going to take that to a whole new level? It's kind of hard to say, but once again, I think it's building upon that relationship of letting users get involved in the game actively, and I think it's going to turn into things that I can't even imagine.
Yep. By the way, that was beyond perfect. You ended exactly at 1 minute.
Excellent. Oh, glad.
But also, you mentioned Twitch there. We are on Twitch right now.
Fantastic, and it's an excellent service, and I know that Twitch integration will be part of PlayStation 4, which is going to be really great.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we'll go to our last question, which is, what is your favorite genre of music, and does it have any relation with your gaming?
Sure. I think it has a very strong relation because my favorite genre of music is chiptunes.
Yep.
And there's a lot of artists out there that aren't just doing, I mean, some of my favorite artists rely solely on the music. Like BitShifter is one of my favorite artists who relies on the soundboards from Game Boys to generate his sound. Bands like Anamanaguchi, while they play instruments, but they also incorporate those kind of sounds. And all of the original, I love browsing YouTube for people's original like 8-bit sound creations and kind of experimental sounds using Final Fantasy sound fonts or old school NES sound fonts and creating music from that. I think it's something I've grown up with. It's something, of course, I'm fond of, but I think some of my favorite music comes out of that scene for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I love some gaming music. That's always fun.
I love to let music inform my designs. If I can, and when I'm working on a project, I often really like to get composers to give me music before I've finished a level, and I love to let the music inform the level.
Yeah. Some of the best games like Bastion, the music in that is just like so perfect for the whole game. But all right, so that's it for my questions. So you can find Jason at his website, jasoncanam.com, and on Twitter at jasoncanam. And anything lastly that you would like to say, Jason?
No, that's been really great, and you've just kind of reinforced the way I've been feeling lately, and I hope the way everyone is feeling, which is like the new generation is something to be exciting about, and I can't wait to see what's coming next.
All right. Well, thank you so much.